A very good afternoon to all. Today's topic is black body radiation, Compton effect, and particle in a box. To start with, we would like to talk about black body. What is a black body? How do we define it? આપણે બ્લેક બોડી કોને કહીએ છીએ અને કેવી રીતે વ્યાખ્યાયિત કરીએ છીએ? તો બહુ સામાન્ય વાત છે. ઇટ્સ વેરી સિમ્પલ થિંગ દેટ બ્લેક બોડી ઇઝ અ બોડી which emits radiation in all wavelength as well as it absorbs radiation in all wavelengths. So in laboratory, it is not possible to perfect complete black body. A nearly black body you can construct by making an enclosure. A closed enclosure has one point like hole opening which can be also called a cavity. કેવિટી એવું છે કે જે એક બંધ પાત્ર છે જેમાં એક નાનકડું પિન હોલ જેવું હોલ ઓપનિંગ હોય છે અને જ્યારે એને ગરમ કરવામાં આવે છે, જ્યારે એને ઉષ્મા આપવામાં આવે છે ત્યારે તે હોલમાંથી બ્લેક બોડી રેડિયેશન એમિટ થાય છે. વેલ, પરફેક્ટ બ્લેક બોડી ઇઝ સન. સનને આપણે સંપૂર્ણ કાળો પદાર્થ અથવા પરફેક્ટ બ્લેક બોડી તરીકે ઓળખીએ છીએ. Why? Why do we call sun as perfect black body? The reason is that sun emits radiation in all the wavelength. Starting from gamma rays all the way up to radio waves, sun emits radiation, and it is not for the sake of emission only. Sun emits radiation prominently in all the wavelengths, and that is why sun is known as perfect black body. The radiation which is emitted by a black body is known as black body radiation. But what is the characteristic of black body radiation? Black body radiation ના ગુણધર્મો શું છે? બ્લેક બોડી રેડિયેશન એવું છે કે જે કોઈ પણ પદાર્થ કયા પદાર્થમાંથી બનેલો છે, એનું બંધારણ શું છે, રાસાયણિક ગુણધર્મો શું છે, એ કશા ઉપર આધાર નથી રાખતું. બ્લેક બોડી રેડિયેશન સિમ્પલી ડિપેન્ડ્સ ઓન ટેમ્પરેચર ઓફ ધ બોડી. જે બોડી ઉપર આપણે ટેમ્પરેચર, બોડીનું જે ટેમ્પરેચર હોય છે એ જ ટેમ્પરેચર નક્કી કરે છે કે બ્લેક બોડીની લાક્ષણિકતા શું છે. સો ધ કેરેક્ટરિસ્ટિક ઓફ અ બ્લેક બોડી ઇઝ ડિફાઇન્ડ બાય temperature only. It is determined by temperature only, not by the chemical composition of the body. So when you heat a black body, it emits radiation, and the characteristic is that if you have a cavity, for example in laboratory you have a cavity which is made up of iron, and if you have another cavity which is made up of copper, so long as the temperature of both cavities are same, the characteristics of black body radiation will remain same. On the contrary, if you have two iron black bodies, that means cavities made out of iron only, but if both cavities are at different temperatures, then you expect the black body characteristic will be different. So it would be interesting to see the characteristic of a black body radiation. These curves were obtained by Lumer and Pringsheim, and we would like to see those curves. If you look at these curves, you can see that it is a distribution of energy as a function of wavelength lambda. જુદી જુદી તરંગ લંબાઈના વિકિરણમાં કેટલી ઉર્જાનું ઉત્સર્જન થયું છે તેનું મેઝરમેન્ટ કર્યા પછી, તેનું માપન કર્યા પછી તેને ગ્રાફ તરીકે આપણે પ્લોટ કર્યા છે. These curves are for three different temperatures, T1, T2 and T3. The temperature T1 is highest, temperature T2 is less, and temperature T3 is least temperature. There are some interesting aspects about these curves. If you read these curves, you can see that at all temperatures there is slowly rise in the energy output, and then it reaches to a maxima and then falls. Second thing which can be noted is that as temperature increases, the total output of energy, total energy radiated by a black body in all wavelength increases continuously. And third thing, which is most important characteristic, is that for every wavelength lambda, for every temperature you have one particular wavelength lambda. I have denoted it by lambda m, which means lambda for maximum energy. For every temperature you have one wavelength at which energy emitted is maximum, and this maximum energy corresponds to wavelength lambda m. For three temperatures you have lambda m1, lambda m2 and lambda m3. Now you can see that as the temperature rises, the wavelength of maximum radiation falls to smaller and smaller values. This was observed by Wien. Wien made two observations, that maximum wavelength lambda m for maximum radiation, it is inversely proportional to temperature, and the maximum energy is directly proportional to fifth power of temperature. So these two laws which were observed by Wien, they were combined in a form of single law which gave total energy output or total energy radiated by a black body, and the expression is E lambda is equal to A upon lambda raised to 5 into exponential minus B upon lambda into T, where lambda is wavelength and T is the temperature, A and B are the constants. But unfortunately, this expression of energy radiated by a black body was valid in the low wavelength region only. So similar expression was obtained by Rayleigh-Jean. Rayleigh-Jean assumed that the average energy of an oscillator is epsilon, which is given by K into T. K is Boltzmann constant, T is temperature, and dn is the number of modes of oscillation between range lambda and lambda plus d lambda. So consequently the total energy E lambda is equal to 8 pi kt upon lambda raised to 4, but again this expression is valid in the long wavelength region only. So these two formulae, they are limited to very small range of wavelengths. They do not express entire wavelength of electromagnetic spectrum. A correction was made by Planck. Planck assumed that all the black bodies are made up of simple harmonic oscillators and they all vibrate with all possible frequencies. પ્લેન્કના કહેવા પ્રમાણે દરેક બ્લેક બોડી એક સિમ્પલ હાર્મોનિક ઓસિલેટર સરળ આવર્ત દોલકનું બનેલું છે અને તેમની શક્ય બધી જ ફ્રીક્વન્સી હોઈ શકે છે. Second assumption made by Planck was that an oscillator cannot assume any arbitrary value of energy. It can take only certain values of energy, and that is given by energy E is equal to n into h into nu. Third assumption made by Planck was that the oscillators do not radiate energy continuously. પ્લાન્કના દોલકો છે જે બ્લેક બોડી બનાવે છે એ પ્લાન્કના દોલકો કન્ટિન્યુઅસલી એનર્જી રેડિએટ નથી કરતા. They exchange energy with their surroundings, and that exchange of energy occurs in a form of quanta of energy. That is, energy is exchanged in the form of minimum quanta h nu or twice h nu or thrice h nu. So this was the first introduction of quantum mechanics. It was actually a revolutionary assumption. Planck was also shocked when he thought of such idea, but then later on it proved to be true expression. He said that let n be the total number of oscillators. The total number of oscillators are made up of several oscillators. Some of them have energy 0, some of them have energy h nu, some oscillators have energy twice h nu, some oscillators have energy n into h nu. All these oscillators are oscillating with different frequencies and they radiate energy at different wavelengths. Planck calculated the total number of such oscillators using Maxwell distribution law, and the total number of such oscillator is n equal to n0 divided by 1 minus e raised to minus h nu upon kt. Similarly, he calculated the total energy of the black body. The total energy radiated by a black body is E is equal to n0 h nu e raised to minus h nu upon kt divided by 1 minus h nu upon kt whole squared. This total energy and the total number n of the oscillator, which can give us average energy of the oscillator. The average energy E bar of an oscillator is total energy E divided by total number of such oscillators, and average energy comes out to be h nu divided by e raised to h nu upon kt minus 1. Based on this, Planck calculated the energy density. The energy density E nu d nu is equal to 8 pi h nu cube divided by c cube multiplied by 1 upon e raised to minus h nu upon kt. This expression derived by Planck truly represents the black body radiation, and this was the final result of Planck's derivation. The next topic we would like to cover is Compton effect. The Compton effect was originated from study of X-ray scattering. Earlier it was believed that when scattering of photon occurs, the incident photon and the scattered photon must have the same wavelengths. It was also believed that the scattering constant does not depend on wavelength lambda, it remains constant. And it was believed that the intensity of X-rays scattered in all directions was symmetrical. That means the X-ray intensity distribution was symmetrical. However, the experiments did not reveal such things. Experiments said that the scattered X-rays have longer wavelength compared to incident X-rays. That means when X-rays are incident on a scatterer and when they are scattered, the scattered X-rays have longer wavelength. Second observation was that the scattering constant varied with incident wavelength lambda. That means for different values of incident wavelength lambda of a radiation, the scattering constant had different values. And thirdly, the intensity distribution was not symmetrical. There was a preferred direction of scattering. This dilemma was explained by Compton. In 1925, he suggested a solution. He said that the scattering phenomena of photon and electron was elastic in the nature. That means there is an exchange of energy during the scattering process. When a photon collides with an electron, a part of its energy is given to electron. એટલે કે જ્યારે ફોટોન અને ઇલેક્ટ્રોનનો સંઘાત થાય છે ત્યારે ફોટોનની ઉર્જાનો થોડોક ભાગ ઇલેક્ટ્રોનને આપવામાં આવે છે અથવા ઇલેક્ટ્રોનને મળે છે અને ઇલેક્ટ્રોન એ ઉર્જા લઈ અને એટમમાંથી અણુમાંથી મુક્ત થાય છે. ફોટોન પાસે ઇલેક્ટ્રોનને જરૂરી ઉર્જા કરતાં ઘણી વધારે ઉર્જા હોય છે, જેથી ફોટોન બાકી બચેલી ઉર્જા સાથે બીજી દિશામાં ગતિ કરે છે. આ સ્કેટરિંગનો સંપૂર્ણ ખ્યાલ આપી શકાય. So the exchange of energy occurs between a photon and electron, and this exchange of energy results into inelastic collision. When a photon transfers energy to electron, the scattered photon has less energy, and because it has less energy, its wavelength is longer. Here in this picture, one can see the phenomena of scattering. There is an incident photon whose energy is h nu. That photon collides with an electron, and as a result, electron travels at angle theta and the scattered photon travels at angle phi. Before collision, the energy of photon was h nu, After collision, the energy of photon is h nu prime. The frequency nu and nu prime are different. Similarly, before collision, the momentum of photon was p equal to h nu upon c. After collision, the momentum of photon is h nu prime upon c. The momentum of photon h nu prime upon c after collision can be divided into two components, one in the direction of incident photon and other in the direction perpendicular to incident photon. આપત થતા ફોટોનને લંબ રૂપે જે દિશા છે તે દિશામાં વેગમાનનો ઘટક એચ ન્યુ પ્રાઇમ અપોન સી સાઇન ફાઈ છે. આપત ફોટોનની દિશામાં જ વેગમાનનો જે ઘટક છે તેનું મૂલ્ય એચ ન્યુ પ્રાઇમ અપોન સી કોસ ફાઈ છે. So this division of components is necessary because the momentum should be conserved separately in both directions. If we look at electron, the momentum of electron initially was 0 because electron was assumed to be steady. The energy of electron initially is m0 into c square. This energy is known as rest energy of electron. It is the minimum amount of energy an electron possesses when it is at rest, or it is a minimum amount of energy required for existence of an electron. So the rest energy m0 c square was the total energy electron had actually with it. After collision, electron gained some energy and it travels with velocity v in direction theta. The energy after collision is now mc squared. The momentum after collision is p equal to m into v, which again can be divided into two components, mv cos theta and mv sin theta. Compton applied very simple situation of conservation of energy and conservation of momentum, and based on these conservation laws, he derived an expression for the change in the wavelength of photon after scattering. He said that the conservation of energy means the energy before collision and the total energy after collision must be equal. These energies of photon before collision h nu and energy of electron before collision m0 c square is equal to sum of energy after collision, sum of energy of photon after collision and energy of electron after collision. Also, the momentum is conserved separately in both directions. In the horizontal direction or in the direction of propagation of photon, incident photon, the momentum is h nu upon c before collision and momentum after collision is h nu prime upon c cos phi plus mv cos theta. In the same way, the momentum is conserved in the direction perpendicular to incident photon direction. Initially, there was no momentum in the direction perpendicular to incident photon, so left side of the equation is 0. The right side of the equation, h nu prime upon c sin phi, is the momentum of photon in perpendicular direction, and mv sin theta is momentum of electron in the perpendicular direction. Both momenta are in opposite direction. Both of them are exactly equal, and therefore they are equal in the magnitude but opposite in the direction. Therefore they result into 0.